The banks compelled repayment in 2008. As soon as the GFC hit, they took the opportunity to capriciously withdraw the credit lines. Bear in mind, I've been with the CBA Bank for 5 years and with the National Bank for 28 years. Once the CBA Bank were repaid, in March of 2010, the National Bank, without even so much as a courtesy advice, moved us to bad bank. Bad bank is akin to taking Melbourne Cup hopeful and sending them to the glue factory. That happened in March. We still weathered that storm and positioned to repay them as soon as possible, but to repay them, you've got to raise fresh capital. We had raised fresh capital. We had $2 million in our account from a capital raising in Christmas of 2010 when the Brisbane office of ASIC compelled us to withdraw the PDS and compel the return of that money. That was their first act of misfeasance. That's called reckless indifference. The Australian Securities and Investment Commission compelled the withdrawing of a legitimate PDS that was to facilitate the repayment of $25 million of residual debt to the National Australia Bank. We'd just paid $90 million to CBA, we'd paid $10 million to the NAB, and we had another 25 to go across $280 million of independently valued assets. The banks had compelled us back in 2008 to subordinate $40 million into the bottom of our balance sheet, which we did against our wishes. When ASIC refused to allow us to raise fresh capital, KPMG, our auditor, rightfully wrote the assets down as though we were no longer a going concern, meaning that we had to adopt garage sale values for the assets. They wrote them down by $70 million, much to the vocal and vehement objection of the board, which included my lawyer, Mr. Tucker. Mr. Tucker then leveraged his position on the board to profit himself. He drained $1.7 million in fees before he was dismissed for misconduct. The second act of misfeasance, which is targeted malice, is sending 28 officers, including armed federal police, to the Office of Equity Trust Limited and to my home, which basically banished 1,620 investors to penury. Those investors today have a legitimate claim against the government, and the government will have to pay.